Hello, boys and girls. Whew, I am back. It's been a while. As you can see, I cut my hair, and there's a good reason for that. It's because I got another job. Woo! That's right. So, unemployed bum no more, which is a very good thing. So, very pleased about that. Did a little bit of celebrating, which we'll get to in just a bit. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a few, life updates like those extra unemployment benefits did go through, but I also, that's that, you know, juxtaposed with the fact that I did, get another job. My first full week is next week, so I'm very pleased about that. Looking forward to just getting back into that rhythm and being a useful member of society once again. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some cool things that I picked up as part of my little celebration and trying to get back into the swing of things with the content that you all love. But first, let's open up a can of the drink of Unboxing Champions to whet our appetite. That's the good stuff right there. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? So, I've arranged these in terms of where I got them from. So, the first up is we got one from eBay, and that one, I just thought I'd start us off on a high note here, is Darren Aronofsky's Mother with Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence. And I saw this in the theater. I saw it actually as a double feature with this one and the It Chapter 1. I saw those on the same day. Unfortunately, by myself. I would have liked to have seen them with other people, but, when I did go to the movies in the theater, it was almost always by myself. But anyway, Mother. This is probably my favorite Darren Aronofsky film, which is not really a popular opinion. Everyone hates this movie. I don't get it. I think it's a masterpiece of, truly unsettling filmmaking, and, this movie has the power to really upset people, to confuse them, to, provoke a really strong response from them. And to me, all of that is supremely good. I think that art should stir up people's emotions. It should make people think. It should challenge their preconceptions. It should do everything that this film did. And I just remembered people had a really strong, visceral reaction to it, to the point where I don't necessarily think that people it was kind of the opposite of Black Swan, for example, which I like Black Swan fine, except for the fact that they kind of spoil the ending for you, in the beginning of the movie. And yeah, it has, some uncomfortable kind of gross, body horror elements, but, nothing in the way of what this film does, which, spoiler alert, this is a movie that is put out by Paramount. This is a big mainstream movie with mainstream stars that, has a baby getting eaten. People eat his flesh and drink his blood, and, the whole thing is a big Christian allegory, and the way I described it was basically the entire story of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, in a allegorical, metaphorical sense, intermixed with, human history after the period of history that's recorded in the Bible, but it's that in a kind of a microcosmic, metaphorical sense. But that's what I really loved about it, and just the fact that this was a take no prisoners kind of movie, and it just it went all the way. And those are my favorite kinds of movies, the ones that they go all the way with what they intend to be, and they take no prisoners, and you either like it or you don't. And I love movies that aren't afraid to be what they are, and they're not afraid to potentially upset a lot of people. And I think this film did that. It didn't do great business, I think, because of that, but I'm hoping that as time goes on, that this will get more of the reputation that it deserves. And again, I give Paramount all the credit in the world for putting out some of the more daring, less conventional movies that a mainstream studio has ever released in recent days. So I'm very pleased about that. This is the 4K with the slipcover, which you wouldn't. I mean, the 4K itself is hard to find, but with the slip is even harder to find. So I was so thankful to have found it, and yeah, I'm glad to have my favorite film of his back in the collection. So, how's that for starting strong? So strong, I needed a drink. Anyway, we got a couple of films here from Amazon. Now, let's start off with, let's say, this one. Talk about, upsetting people or whatever. Boom. We got World's Greatest Dad, the Bobcat Goldthwait film with Robin Williams, which, rest in peace, Robin Williams. This is a film that, it was a very, very dark film. It's very darkly comical, and it does have some really eerie foreshadowing aspects to it that make it kind of, I guess, unsettling in a different way these days. But basically, again, spoilers. This is a movie about a high school creative writing teacher whose son, his teenage son, is like pretty irredeemably unlikable. Like, nobody likes him. He doesn't like his father doesn't like him. There's pretty much no redeeming qualities to the kid. And he's like a terrible student. He is just insults everyone, and he's into like increasingly more extreme, more like perverse, fetishes and things. And he eventually the son dies of autoerotic asphyxiation, and his father, played by Robin Williams, he makes it look like he just hung himself, just like because of depression or whatever. So tucked his raging heart on away and all that stuff. But then in death, it turns out, because he's also a frustrated writer too, unpublished, and in death he basically writes a suicide note for his son, and that note, that manifesto, it resonates with the students and the faculty, and so he starts writing more things that supposedly came from his son. So it's like in death, this absolutely horrible kid becomes almost saintly, and it's like, well, but he wasn't that way, and it's really great. It's really perverse. It's really, I think, a good commentary on how we often will, when someone dies, we will often kind of sweep their unlikable qualities under the rug as to not speak ill of the dead or whatever, but it's often to the to the detriment of the truth of who they really were. And also there's like all kinds of like cults of personality that are based around people who have died, and things like that. So definitely a good commentary on that, but it also has there's a bit of a specter kind of hovering over this film and also other Robin Williams films that are about mortality, because Robin Williams, as we know, he killed himself via strangulation over like a belt and over the doorway, and it wasn't for autoerotic asphyxiation reasons, but it was the mode of death is not that dissimilar. So I mean, there's a bit of a eerie foreshadowing there, but still a great film for what it's trying to be. Not necessarily for everyone though, and I remembered I had a cousin who stumbled upon this film thinking it was going to be like a like a RV or Old Dogs or one of those like later period, not so great, Robin Williams family comedies. Nope, definitely not. And then we got another Bobcat Goldthwait film that he wrote and directed and actually stars in, and that is Shakes the Clown, which, man, I love that cover. It's so creepy. Yeah, this should come with a slipcover. Amazon sent this to me without it, and I said that it shipped with parts missing, and they refunded me, and I didn't have to actually ship it back. I did manage to find the slipcover on another website. It's coming in the mail. I have no idea when, but it is coming. Um, but this film, I think it's really good. It's really darkly humorous. It's got I love the quote on the back here from Betsy Sherman of the Boston Globe: "The Citizen Kane of alcoholic clown movies." Who could have said it better? But yeah, I just love how creepy that poster looks, and I love that it's a very dark comedy. Shakes the Clown is like this very alcoholic, just kind of dead end clown, and then there are these other. It's a kind of a heightened reality because he's got a. It's almost like somewhat Joker and Harley Quinn because you've got kind of a ditzy blonde girlfriend. You also have kind of a rivalry between the clowns and the mimes, and Robin Williams actually has a little cameo as a mime that actually talks. And then that guy right there, that very kind of Joker looking guy, is actually Tom Kenny, aka the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants and a shitload of other notable animated characters. And let me tell you, he plays a really creepy antagonist in this film. Like, very unsettling. And it's like, good on you, man. You could play a villain. And I've met the guy. He's a really, really nice guy. Everything that, all the good things people have ever said about him, they're all true. But yeah, he can play a really creepy villain. And actually, this has a pre-stardom. Well, he was on SNL, but like, yeah, he was at this time. This was 1991, I think. Yeah, but he would have been on SNL, but he was not a movie star yet, which was Adam Sandler. Actually, is one of the supporting characters who plays a clown. So it is kind of like a heightened reality because there are clowns that they go to like a clown bar, and it's just it's one of a kind. I'd highly recommend it though. But some of you out there don't really like clowns all that much. But if you do, definitely check it out. It's a unique film, very dark, very just messed up, and that's what I like. Which I actually have played a creepy clown in a movie I did, and I loved being in the makeup, perhaps a little too much. Anyway, so two more Amazon items. We have the 1990 Captain America from Shout Factory, which this film is going out of print this year, I believe, and so I wanted to snatch it up before it went out of print and before it got ridiculously expensive. On eBay and stuff, this is pretty pricey already, but on Amazon it's perfectly reasonable, so I grabbed it from there. No slipcover with it, as far as I know. If there is one, please let me know, but I do really like the look of the Captain America costume in here because it looks exactly like the comics. The one in the MCU, because this is from 1990, it predated it by quite a lot, by whatever that would have been, 21 years, I think, yeah. But anyway, the suit in here looks exactly like the classic suit in the comics. The one in the MCU derives much more heavily from the one in the Ultimates, that kind of look. Now, granted, that suit, it has evolved with each movie, but and it's going to evolve again once the Falcon, takes on that mantle. But anyway, yeah, I just like seeing like the one in the Avengers, the first one. That one looks the closest to this, and also when in Captain America: The First Avenger, when he is doing his kind of USO tour and he's like a mascot basically. They give him a suit that looks just like this one, but it has the wings that kind of stick out like that, and it looks kind of campy because it's a stage costume. It's not like battle ready, but still, it's just nice to see kind of a traditional one. But I know that this one's supposed to be really cheesy, but it's part of superhero film history. Gotta have it. And you know, it got like I think a limited theatrical release in Europe, but it was straight to video in the U.S. And that's why not a lot of people know about it as much. But I'm glad that it's out there. And then one more superhero film for you, one that I have very many fond memories of when I was a kid, and that is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Another Shout Factory one, and thank God that it got the Blu-ray treatment and it looks beautiful. Amazon sent this to me with the slipcover, so I did not have to, ask for a refund or anything, because I'm a slipcover psychopath, as you know. Love this. This was the same cover as the VHS. And I believe this right here was the original theatrical poster look, which both of these I absolutely love. And this movie, is it good objectively? No, but Power Rangers is not good objectively in the same way that, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Transformers, were not really good objectively, but they were staples of our childhoods, and they're things that, we go back to when we want to kind of relive those memories. And I watched this movie a ton of times. I still love it to this day. It's so cheesy, but man, the soundtrack is great. I really love the look of the costumes in this film. They really, I think, stepped up their game because they had a little bit more money this time. They really stepped up their game with how they made the suits look. And I actually like the look of these suits here better than the one in the 2017 Power Rangers film, even though I like that film a lot. But anyway, I don't know, I absolutely love this film. I don't blame someone for not liking it necessarily, because if you didn't grow up with Power Rangers, then it's just going to go over your head. And, but Ivan Ooze is really, really funny in this. He's the villain, and he's played by, I believe, Paul Freeman, yeah, and he was Belloq in Raiders of the Lost Ark, so how about that? And, every 90s kid, I think, has fond memories of this movie, or they should. I need to take a drink. Alright, next up, we have a few, there's a store around here, it's a discount store called Roses, which I'd never been into before, but they had some, $5 DVDs, or 2 for $5 ones, and most of them were kind of, nothing really special, but then there were a few that stuck out, one of which I've been meaning to watch this for a long time, because I hear nothing but good things, American Splendor, which is about, it's based on the real story of Harvey Pekar, and he created the comic American Splendor, on which the movie is based. And I believe that he was a contemporary of Robert Crumb, aka R. Crumb, who created Fritz the Cat and was a big figure in the underground comic scene. And I believe that he was also. And this one got a lot of praise. I just have never seen it, so I'm eager to check it out. But, if you're a fan of not just superheroes, but the comic books medium in general, and especially ones that are a little bit more underground, a little bit less mainstream, well, here's, someone that definitely embodied that spirit. That was one of the 2 for $5 ones. And I stumbled upon this film, which, just by the looks of it, it looks like such a spectacular piece of shit that I couldn't not get it. And that is Disaster, the movie, starring Tommy Lee, Mick Mars, Vince Neil, and Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue. And it's basically, on the back, it says, this hilariously demented spoof of big-budget action films is more thrilling than Armageddon and raunchier than Team America. And that's saying a lot. I've never heard of this film up to now, but it looks like such a spectacular piece of shit, and starring the guys of Motley Crue, that it's like, well, how can I not? And these look like, I don't know if those are puppets or if they're stop motion or what, like claymation. It looks like claymation, but I don't know. It looks almost like I almost said Robert Chicken, robot chicken. Looks kind of like that in terms of its animation style, but I have no clue. But it was just like, this is gonna be just a spectacular piece of shit, I assume. But you never know until you watch it. So that's all for Roses, and then I had a few. I haven't been in a Target in quite a long time because I converted over to like Amazon and eBay and things. But I did go the other day, and they had some halfway decent Target Circle offers on these two brand new releases. New releases on this channel, what? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they had like 15% off of both of these, and I had my normal Target Red card, so I got even more off of it. So first up for new releases is Infamous with Bella Thorne, who I guess got in some controversy for having made a lot of money off of OnlyFans, which, I don't really pretend to know the ins and outs of that, and it's none of my business, because, people can do what they want. But, yeah, I remembered, I think I saw some, like, a trailer or news or whatever about it on Instagram just floating around, and, she's, like, the new hot thing, and, looked like a good sort of, almost like Natural Born Killers-esque, or like, Bonnie and Clyde sort of thing, so eager to check it out. Only on DVD, though, but got it with the slip. And then another sex symbol, but of a different decade, the 2000s, who I guess is sort of reinventing, some parts of her career now, which is Megan Fox, in this movie Rogue, which she plays... Megan Fox tackles a thrilling new role as a battle-hardened mercenary in this explosive action saga, and rescuing hostages from their captors in remote Africa, and it's basically an action movie and with lions and stuff, which kind of reminds me of the Nicolas Cage movie, what was it called? I'm looking at it. Primal. Yeah, it's behind me. Behind the camera. But yeah, Primal. It reminded me a little bit of that, because another like Lionsgate direct to Blu-ray kind of thing with animals in it. But I'm just glad that. See, I always liked Megan Fox. I mean, obviously she was like the sexiest thing on the planet back in like late 2000s, early 2010s, and she. I sold the digital code for this. I know that she people got kind of burned out of her pretty quickly, but like if you ever seen Jennifer's Body, you know that she can act well if she's given the right kind of material, so I'm eager to see what she can do with this, and I'm just glad that she is getting a chance to reinvent herself and to do different things, and I don't think that she really deserves a lot of the like backlash that she got, and all the like people were like calling her a slut and stuff, but she was actually speaking up for, well, herself, but also for, she was very much like, trying to assert herself as a woman in Hollywood, and trying to, buck a lot of the trends of like people that look down on, beautiful women and think that they're either dumb or they're not able to assert themselves or whatever, because she absolutely did that. And I think people are finally sort of realizing that, she was a lot more than people gave her credit for at the time, and a lot more than her critics chose to see. And, it just tells you that no matter who you are, but especially if you're a woman in a traditionally male-dominated field, that you should never keep your mouth shut, and you should never stop fighting, because eventually people will see it your way, and people will eventually capitulate, and even if they don't, then fuck them. Alright, so that's that for Target. And last but not least, Second and Charles, they were having a buy 5 used Blu-ray DVD, get 5 free sale, which they do every now and again, not all that commonly, but they do it. And that is always a great deal that I try to take advantage of whenever I can. So let's dive into what I found, and then after that I'll show you a few little added bonuses that I also got at Second and Charles that were not movie related and weren't part of the sale, but they're still, I think, pretty cool and things that you might like. So first up is Tropic Thunder, which I got because I assume that this film is going to be next on the chopping block for, censorship and suppression and stuff because of which it already did attract a lot of controversy at the time that it came out, 2008, which, doesn't seem like that long ago, but it really was when you think about it. But that was because of Robert Downey Jr.'s character. This was in the same year as Iron Man, actually, the first Iron Man, but this was, again, so during his big reinvention as an actor. And actually, this film kind of resurrected Tom Cruise's career in a way, which had a few years of shakiness, but it attracted some attention because his character, who is white, I guess the idea, again, I'm going to watch this, but, I guess from what I read, the idea was that his character was, such a method actor and, so kind of full of his own abilities and so full of his own, needing to go all the way with things to portray a character that he, he basically transforms himself into a black man I think it's with, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's, he actually, darkens his skin, for real, in the story, and so, again, that did attract a lot of controversy, but it also, I think, the target of the satire was his character and his just kind of ridiculously intense commitment to being all method and stuff, so it was his pretension that was driving him to do that. And so, I bring it up because it's always important in our society that continues to degenerate in terms of just understanding humor and how it works, that whenever you analyze a joke, it's always good to know, not only authorial intent and delivery, but also who the target of the joke is. And if the target of the joke is the person who's, making it, or the target of the joke is, it's, I guess, self-deprecating, or it's the target is not who you necessarily think it is, then that carries a certain kind of weight versus a target that is more, I guess you'd say either the expression is punching down versus punching up, or in this case, almost punching oneself. So in this case, I think that it definitely, is more of the punching oneself, oneself is more of the target, but, again, it's just the fact that I have to even talk about understanding humor is that's just a sign of the times. But anyway, this film, I remember it got a lot of really good reviews, and actually Robert Downey Jr. got a Best Supporting Actor nomination for this film, which is pretty sweet. And this film, as I recall, it's a big Hollywood satire, and it was derived from, because it was directed by Ben Stiller, starring Ben Stiller, and it was derived from Ben Stiller having auditioned for Oliver Stone's Platoon and having not gotten the role. So I think he took a lot of those same experiences and basically made his own sort of spoof, these Hollywood guys going deep into enemy territory to make a realistic war movie and getting more than they bargained for, that whole thing. And so yeah, very eager to check it out finally, because I like Ben Stiller a lot as a comedic director and as an actor, but his directorial work like this, and especially The Cable Guy, they don't really get a lot of credit like they should, I don't think, but just wanted to snag that up because I imagine it's going to be next on the chopping block for, censorship or suppression, or, disclaimers or this or that, or going out of print or who knows what. All kinds of ways that things can magically disappear, and so that's why we got to preserve art as it threatens to be, mysteriously gone. Anyway, I need to take another drink. You should get your own drink of Unboxing Champions and drink along with me. You're gonna need it. Next up is a movie that everyone hates, and objectively speaking, is this movie good? Not really. Not at all, really. But I love it anyway, and that's The Spirit. And why do I love it? Because it's so funny. It really is funny. You don't think it's going to be a comedy, and I wouldn't even necessarily call it that, but it's the situations in this movie are so unbelievably absurd. The tones are all over the place. the just there's so much of this that doesn't make a lick of sense, and yet you get the idea that at least some of it is intentional, if not all of it. And like, if you've ever heard of or seen so there's a guy, Captain Logan, who does a show called Superhero Rewind. If you've ever seen his review of this film, basically what he says about it is essentially how I felt, which is that, he was like, I really loved it. Like he said, I'm going to say two contradictory things back to back. He's like, I really love this movie, and it doesn't work at all. And, that's basically how I feel about it. Like, objectively, is this any good? No, but I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that I found it really funny, really, like, just over the top ridiculous, but also carrying a lot of the same visual ideas from Sin City into this, and also drawing from a lot of the different eras of the Spirit, where it was more like grounded detective stuff. It was like supernatural. It was any number of things. It's all of these different conflicting like genres and styles that are all mishmashed together into this thing that just, it's one of a kind, and you either like it or you don't. And this has Samuel L. Jackson dressed up in like a fur coat. It's got Samuel L. Jackson and Scarlett Johansson before Iron Man 2 with Nick Fury and Black Widow. And it's got they're both like both Scarlett Johansson and even Samuel L. Jackson, they're both like dressed up like Nazis. And then eventually like there's an homage to anime, and there's like these ethos, pathos, and logos, these like big goons. That's what their names are on their shirts, and they look exactly the same, and they can get all cut up and mutilated, and yet they don't die. And you got Eva Mendes in here, who's looking about as hot as could possibly be. And it's kind of too bad that the actual Spirit himself, Gabriel Macht, I think is how you say it, it's kind of too bad that nobody really talks about him all that much anymore. I don't even know if they did all that much before this, but and Sarah Paulson's in this too. And yeah, it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just, it feels almost like self-parody in a way. I don't know if that is necessarily what they intended, but it's something that it treads that line between trying to be serious and failing versus like intentional self-parody. I want to say it might be more of the latter, just because there are lines in this movie like the opening fight scene between the Spirit and the octopus, who's Samuel L. Jackson's character. They're having like this knockdown drag out fight, and eventually the octopus puts a toilet over the Spirit's head, and he's like bashes him with the toilet, and he's got a toilet on him, and the octopus is like, toilets are always funny. Well, yeah, they are funny. So there are just all kinds of things like that are like, this has to be, they have to know what kind of movie they're making, and they're having fun with it. And I think it was Scarlett Johansson who essentially said that she equated it to like kids playing dress up playing pretend in the backyard or whatever, which it does kind of have that feel to it. But definitely check out Captain Logan, the Superhero Rewind review of this movie, and I think that'll sum it up a little bit better than I could. But I genuinely like this movie, and I think that it's sort of misunderstood. But again, don't go into it expecting like Sin City or anything like that. It's not that dark or that serious or anything. If anything, it's really cartoony and bizarre. And it's a PG-13 instead of an R. And I think part of it was just expectations. I think people wanted it to be another Sin City, and what they got was something that was pretty unique, pretty out there. But that's why I like it. We're getting through this. Next up is a movie that is also, I think, kind of underrated and misunderstood, and that's the Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nicolas Cage and Teresa Palmer. This film, I remember, it was meant to sort of be like this live-action adaptation / homage to / brand name recognition thing for the the segment of Fantasia, the famous segment with Mickey Mouse as the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and doing the dance with the brooms and stuff, which you do see a little bit of that like on the back there. But this film, just in and of itself, I think that it's I had a good time with it. I thought it was pretty fun. Like, I know that a lot of people hated it, but like, I thought Nicolas Cage was fun in that. I liked Alfred Molina as the villain. I love Teresa Palmer in anything that she's in. I think, was it Monica Bellucci in this as well? Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was fun. It's nothing like great, but I mean, I enjoyed it. Could have done a lot worse. The actual Sorcerer's Apprentice himself, Jay Baruchel, I don't know how you say it. He's okay. He can get a little annoying, but I mean, Nicolas Cage does a good job in this, and it's John Turteltaub, who did Cool Runnings. He did While You Were Sleeping. He did both National Treasure movies with Nicolas Cage. Did Phenomenon. A lot of movies that you don't necessarily like. Those movies, but you don't really attach his name to it. And he also did The Meg recently, which is pretty interesting. So yeah. Next up, we got so Sharon Stone. She became like this megastar because of Basic Instinct, and then after that came out in 1992, the next year she did another erotic thriller that was also written by Joe Esterhazy, and that was Sliver. And this film has, I believe, a couple songs by Enigma in it. I love Enigma. And I haven't finished this movie. I got like part ways into it, but I need to finish it. But it was basically like an erotic surveillance thriller about like people getting bumped off in an apartment complex, and there's people watching them on closed circuit cameras and things like that. It's one of those things that it has some of those same Joe Esterhazy kind of like sleazy trait hallmarks to it, but it's not quite as overt as something like Basic Instinct, or especially not as overt as Showgirls. But as far as like a neo-noir erotic thriller with surveillance, it's got that going on. And then you may recall a sci-fi film called Skyline in the collection. Well, this is the sequel, Beyond Skyline. I love whatever that is. It looks like a robot version of Cthulhu or something, which I gotta see the first one before I see this one. And this one, the other one was put out by, Alliance that's the Canadian one that I have, but Universal in the US. And then this is put out by Vertical Entertainment. So yeah, for whatever that's worth. But I remembered seeing this in Walmart back when this came out, and I was like, that looks awesome. I mean, I love the cover, if nothing else. So, and I mean, look at that stuff on the back. It's like, damn, that looks pretty sweet. So, eager to check that out. Next up, we have one of the funniest comedies, I think, ever. And it caused a lot of controversy when it came out, but I think that controversy dissipated pretty quickly, and that was Monty Python's Life of Brian. And the controversy came about because people at the time, and especially in England, Church of England people and stuff, they kind of assumed that it was meant to be like making fun of the life of Jesus or whatever, but what it is it's this other person, Brian, who's born in the stable next door to Jesus, and his life it somewhat parallels Jesus's life, but it's something that the joke is more on the fact that the people following not just Jesus, but they're following a lot of different messiahs that are all kind of trying to compete for attention and stuff. So in other words, you have like a whole bunch of people eager to follow someone, and just through circumstance, Brian becomes like this reluctant, unintentional messiah of sorts in the eyes of people who, through no fault of his own, he's just bumbling around, and people, they want to follow him and want to take every little stray thing that happens as like a sign, and he's just trying to get on with his life, and in the very beginning, it's like you see Jesus himself delivering the Sermon on the Mount, and he's right there in front of him, and people are like not hearing what he's saying, and they're like picking apart every little thing that they mishear, and it's like it's more of a satire of human error and human ignorance rather than Jesus himself or anything. um, so again, I think that's part of why the controversy dissipated pretty quickly. But also, it's a great satire again of human error, of human follies and fallibilities, and also it's a great parody of the epic film genre, specifically the biblical epic, which was a mainstay of cinema in like the 50s and 60s. And this was actually in the same year as the television miniseries Jesus of Nazareth, which is an amazing series. Definitely check it out. So good. Unbelievably good. But it actually came out in the same year as that. And it's so funny. On the back it says, a timeless epic that's only 93 minutes long. Love it. But what's funny is that despite it being a Monty Python, spoof and everything, despite that, it does get some things correct that other serious, like biblical epics that they don't talk about, which is the fact that in the, early, like around 33 AD, around that time, a little bit before, there actually were quite a few wannabe messiahs floating around Judea at that time. And so there's that great scene in like the town square where like all the different like apocalyptic preachers and all the different splinter group people of like splinter Jewish sects, or like other ones that are like revolutionaries and things, they're all trying to compete for public space and things like that. So it captures that very well. And it's just really damn funny. So highly recommend that. I wish that this would get, like, I know that the Criterion Collection, they put this out on DVD many, many years ago. This is the only Blu-ray release that it's had. I wish that it would get like a 4K or another Criterion release or something. It deserves it. And then next up, LA Confidential, which was a fantastic kind of neo-noir period piece film from 1997 with Kim Basinger, however you say it. She won Best Supporting Actress for this role, and for her role in this, and it's got Kevin Spacey, Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, James Cromwell, so many, Danny DeVito, all kinds of great people. And this film, I think, won. I can't remember if this was it's an adapted screenplay. It won Best Adapted Screenplay, and very deservedly so, because it was fantastic. And it's so funny because it was Brian Helgeland, one of the screenwriters, along with the director Curtis Hanson. Brian Helgeland won the Oscar in the same year as he won the Razzie for Worst Screenplay for The Postman with Kevin Costner. And I think it was the only time in Razzie history where that, for writing anyway, where that happened, because Sandra Bullock actually won Worst Actress for All About Steve in the same year as she won Best Actress for The Blind Side. But anyway, great film. Again, it's like, with Kevin Spacey, it's like, it breaks my heart that all of the stuff hanging over him now because of the past coming back to haunt him, but like the films themselves and the performances, they still hold up. They're still great, any way you slice it. And this is a really damn good film noir that, does great justice to its period and to other film noir films from the classic period. And it's just, I love it. Absolutely love it. I love period pieces in general, and I love film noir. Next up is one of Michael Bay's best films, and one that people that don't like Michael Bay will usually like. They'll usually like this one, and that is The Island. It's certainly, I think you could say it's his most, one of his most underrated films. I think he's got a couple, but this is one of them. And this has Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, who she was still relatively fresh on the scene at that time, like as an adult. I mean, She was still relatively fresh on the scene, and this was one of her big, action film kind of sci-fi debuts. And it's a really good, underappreciated sci-fi action film. It's all about the wealthy 1% who have the money to get clones of themselves made and kept on this island, such that the rich, should they ever need like a body part or something to extend their life, then they've got those clones that are just disposable, that they can grab the body part and that's it. They don't have any thought to the clones' lives, and so they're trying to, escape. And I think they both do a really good job, and it's just I think again it's got a really good script and great action, and it just proves again that Michael Bay, he's never been a screenwriter of any kind, but it's one of those things where if you give him a good script and he's, passionate about it, he can make a really damn good movie, and this is one of them. Give him a shitty script and or a script that he just doesn't have any investment in, and he'll just kind of half-ass it, but this is one of his best. I wish it would get a 4K release. But yeah, people that, they tend not to like Michael Bay, they generally like that movie, and for good reason, because it's a really good movie. And then we got Feast, and this was a film made by John Gulager. I think that's how you say it, but this, I believe he was the one who won Project Greenlight back when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, back when they had that reality series, and this was the film that I think that he did after having, having won that one, and this one's got Balthazar Getty, Henry Rollins, Jason Mewes, a lot of people, and executive produced by Wes Craven, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Chris Moore, and I think it's like a creature feature horror film, so eager to check that out. And then last up for the movies anyway, from Second and Charles, we have the Ali G Show, the complete series. I love the Ali G Show. I love all three of the characters that spun off from it. We got Ali G, we got Borat, we got Bruno with different hair than he had in the movie. And I love the lenticular cover here. We got, I can't do the snap thing that he does, but just pretend that I can, Booyaka Shah. We got Ali G, and we got Yakshamish. We got Borat there. And it's both seasons of the HBO series. I would like to be able to track down the original, what was that? Was it Channel 4? Was it, I can't remember which British network it was, because that was like the original Ali G series, and it was a different format. It wasn't a mockumentary series. It was a kind of a combination of things. It had mockumentary segments, but it also had like sketches, and it had like a in character sit down kind of talk show format with a live studio audience and things like that. So it was a different thing, but this was like all found footage, or not found footage. It was all mockumentary style, and but absolutely love. I absolutely love this series. I love the characters. I think Sacha Baron Cohen is like, he's got to be, if they had like the Mount Rushmore of like, well, modern comics, not classic period or mid period or whatever, on film and TV, if they had a Mount Rushmore of like modern comics, he belongs on it. He absolutely does. He is fearless, extremely talented. He's a chameleon. Can't say enough good things about him. I would love it if his other series, his new one, I would love to see that come to physical media, because I've not seen it yet, but I've seen like bits of it. Like I saw the OJ interview, but I would love to see the whole thing, the whole show. Anyway, so that's it for the movies, but this is just kind of an added bonus, but I thought you guys might like to see it. Found a few old school video games. Got new Super Mario Brothers Wii, which you might have seen in the complete collection video that I do have a Wii. Now I got it back because my ex, she took the Wii that we had, and I got another one back, so got this game back. Love this game. Absolutely adore it. And then that was for Wii, and then for GameCube, I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, which I think I played this like once. I played 2 a lot, but I think this was the best-selling installment in the franchise, which good timing too, because the remastered 1 and 2 that's coming out soon, and Worms 3D, which I absolutely love the Worms series, and this was actually my introduction to Worms, and this is out of all the ones that I've played, I think this one's my favorite. But anyway, that was the haul for this particular time. Hopefully you like that. Hopefully you are happy for all the different life updates. Hopefully you're not too scared by the shorter hair. But yeah, as more things come in the collection, I'll tell you about them. Yeah, I just wanted to give you those updates. Now, I plan to kind of in between whenever things arrive in the mail, which I don't know what the frequency is going to be yet. I kind of want to have a good period of just saving money and getting my feet firmly on the ground once more. But one thing I do want to start doing is I want to I had mentioned doing something called No Money Film School, which I still want to do that. And now that I have editing software with which to do it, that would be something that I can start doing, and a good way to kind of get my feet wet with it, if you guys would like it, is I would like to do something kind of similar to what Captain Logan has done, where he will do like a full commentary track for a movie that already exists, and he'll point out different things about it, and he did it with like a co-host or whatever, and they just kind of talk about it. But for me, what I would like to do is if you wanted to leave a comment or something, or tell me about a movie that you'd like me to talk about, then what I'll do is I'll do a recording of myself talking about the movie in commentary format, and assuming that it's a movie that's, it's not in the public domain or whatever, I won't show actual footage from it, but what I'll do is I'll say, okay, if you've got it on DVD or Blu-ray, or you're watching it on whatever streaming platform or whatever, then start the movie, 3, 2, 1, go, and, you can watch it along with me, and I'll point out different things about whatever, screenwriting, cinematography, interesting stories about the film, themes, just any number of things. Try to give the story analysis kind of collegiate experience, bring it to you, the people. And so yeah, I plan to get that started, at least just to get my feet wet and to see how you like that, and can just kind of build up from there. But yeah, I'm gonna try and give that a go before too long. But yeah, you'll get more unboxings and more cool things in the future, and obviously I have a lot more at my disposal because I've got editing software now. So how about that? If you like this, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, set phasers to stun, warp factor 5. I'm going to finish off the drink of Unboxing Champions. I will see you in the next video. Stay safe out there, my friends.